That was beautiful. I wanted to ask you, can you see the pictures when you're performing? Can you see the images appearing around you? Or are you having to remember
That's a good
where
question.
they are?
Thank you. So if you can just picture in your mind's eye, the stage is set up, so it's sort of choreographed like this. There are these columns. I don't know if you remember, there was a screen where there was these two columns, and that was actually projected onto the hologauze that I've been talking about. The lights were projected onto the screen. So it was so that you could see clearly. Behind the screen, I actually couldn't see that clearly. No. So I had to remember exactly where in space and on the curtains where they were projected. So it was a little bit difficult. So it was a little bit. I wanted to make sure it was all synced, but it looked like it all worked well in the end.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's a very important story to tell from Japanese people perspective, and important for us to know in relation to Trident nuclear weapons, which are based in Scotland, and the movement against having nuclear weapons, and what we could do with the billions that they're planning to spend on renewing Trident, could pay for all of our independent living and everything that we need. So, I know it seems like everyone knows about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but when you tell it like that, it's just reminds us how important it is to know.
Thank you. So this story was, of course, as we know, is a true event during that period. And then afterwards, deaf people were exposed to the radiation, and I got these stories from interviewing. So the second part of this film is more about my interviews with deaf people. So far, traditionally it's a hearing perspective, a non-deaf perspective. So I always thought to myself, where are deaf people? There must have been deaf people in Japan at this time, and I wanted to hear from them. So a couple of years ago, I met with a deaf person, obviously very old, who had experienced the bomb and managed to survive. She was 85 years old when I met her, so already quite aged. But she managed to tell me the story that she saw the bomb explode, and she said, "Wow, it was so beautiful." And I was like, "Beautiful?" I said, how can you have that perspective? She'd never heard about the bomb. She didn't know what it was. As far as she was concerned, it was just this phenomenon. Of course, nowadays, she had a different perspective. And the second part of this film focuses more on the anecdotal evidence from deaf people in Japan that saw it. Next week, I'm showing it in Tunisia. I'm showing the film. So please come and see me in Tunisia. Come and have a little holiday right now.
Yeah, we'll have a long holiday.
There were two things I was thinking about, and one was that the Americans knew exactly what the atomic bomb did, because they used their own soldiers to test it on. There were many American soldiers that were severely disabled afterwards because of the small mini tests. That, and the other thing that I thought, and I remember having a discussion with my son's father about this, war is maybe between the people that are alive today. What happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was evil because it condemned generations afterwards. Babies born later were disabled because of what happened there. the contamination was terrible. And I don't think we have the right to condemn multiple generations afterwards. We don't have the right to war in the first place, but yeah. Okay. Well done. Thank you very much for...
I think
Most welcome.
maybe Chisato wants to say a little bit, because her work does explore exactly the things that you're talking about. Do you want to say a little bit more? It's a bit of a spoiler alert, but
I was also a result of the war. My father came home and made me.
Yes, sure.
So, April,
My feeling is that the world is an odd place, isn't it? I've been around the world and I've shown this performance, and we've talked about the political landscapes in so many countries. We know that the world is an odd place. We know that potentially there's a third world war. You know, I don't know. I hope not. But what's important for us all to remember is that this was a factual event that happened and had incredible impact. But what it did, you know, it's coming up to Christmas and we're thinking about peace, and so that's what I'd like to leave with us.
Thank you for doing that.